Continuation of Chapter 4. Monopolize the education of youth. But that is not enough. Masonry also wants to take control of the education of youth, as Pope Leo XIII affirms, quote, "With the greatest unanimity, the sect of the Freemasons also endeavors to take to itself the education of youth." End quote. After imposing divorce, the education of youth is the next target. This is so clear it is blinding. The advance of the secularization of teaching in all the countries of the world is manifest. The organizations like UNESCO, whose self-proclaimed goal is the spread of education and the end of illiteracy, are in fact directed by Masonry in order to extend anti-clerical, atheistic education throughout the world, under the fallacious pretext of giving all men access to a higher culture. We observed all of this in the missions. We had the worst troubles with the organs of UNESCO because they had a lot of money to spend and would establish public schools wherever we had established Catholic schools, even though there were many other places where they could have established schools and which were without any schools at all. Oh no, they expressly established schools in the same vicinity in order to destroy the influence of the Catholic Church. With the money they had at their disposition, this was easy. They could pay their professors much more than we could afford to. Fortunately, there were still many Africans with respect for religion who preferred to place their children in our schools, even among the Muslims. We always had a good number of Muslims in our schools, although we did not allow the number to exceed 15%. But among the first to enroll their children in our schools were the Muslims, and this for religious reasons. The parents knew that we taught religion, not to convert them or to make them Catholics, which unfortunately was impossible. Even if a good little Muslim were the best student in catechism, it was impossible to allow him to make his first Holy Communion. Sometimes the child would cry when he saw all the others go forward to receive communion, while he, the first in the class, was unable to go. He couldn't understand, but there was nothing to be done about the parents. Had they ever learned that we permitted the child to receive Holy Communion secretly, they would have burned down the school. It was impossible then to convert them, but they still had this feeling for religion such that they wanted to see it taught to their children. The Pope denounces Masonry's hold on the education of youth. Quote, "With the greatest unanimity, the sect of the Freemasons also endeavors to take to itself the education of youth. They think that they can easily mold to their opinions that soft and pliant age, and bend it whither they will, and that nothing can be more fitted than this to enable them to bring up the youth of the state after their own plan. Therefore, in the education and instruction of children, they allow no share, either of teaching or of discipline, to the ministers of the Church. And in many places they have procured that the education of youth shall be exclusively in the hands of laymen, and that nothing which treats of the most important and most holy duties of men to God shall be introduced into the instruction on morals." End quote. Now, even in countries like Italy, where until just recently the obligation to teach the Catholic religion in the schools had the force of law, it is all over. In Italy it was ended by the new Concordat. Footnote: the new Concordat, replacing the one concluded under Pius XI between the Holy See and Italy, was signed February 18, 1984, by Cardinal Casaroli and Italian President Bettino Craxi. End footnote. The law has not completely entered into effect, and the new secularized legislation still tolerates priests teaching religion in the schools. For the time being, parents are still free to have their children given, either at the school or not, Catholic instruction, and the priests are still remunerated by the state. But the intention of the legislators is to suppress the remuneration of the priests, and because of this, there will no longer be priests dispensing Catholic instruction in the schools. It will become necessary then, as is the case in France, for the priests to organize catechism outside the schools. And in this case, the Freemasons, who seek to destroy Catholic education, will arrange things such that, all the while appearing to grant a certain liberty to the children to attend catechism, the courses are scheduled during the recreations, when the children need to unwind. It is just then that they allow the children to go to catechism, when it will make the class more difficult. They will have to make a sacrifice in order to receive Catholic education, and then go and have all the parents sign a sheet that they desire the Catholic education of their children. The rights of man. Leo XIII then takes up the thesis according to which all men are equal by right. Quote, "Then come their doctrines of politics, in which the naturalists lay down that all men have the same right, and are, in every respect, of equal and like condition." End quote. This is the first article of the rights of man. All men are equal. Of course, as the Pope says later on, all men, by their common nature, are equal with respect to God. But in fact, all men are not equal according to their natural talents, nor by the role they play in society.